Welcome to Edrin 4. I'm Bridget McKinnon, CO of the USS Zhangha. Glad you could join us. My science teams are on site and conducting initial surveys. Apparently, this place is quite the geological marvel. We're not the only ones present, though. Our friends from the Gorn hegemony aren't terribly chatty, but so far they're keeping the peace.
And so we begin our first mission on Edrin 4. How can we help, Captain?
Well, I'm sure my people wouldn't mind an extra hand down there on the geological marvel. Feel free to join the party.
Is that sarcasm I detect in your voice, McKinnon? I'll send a team to the surface. Armiger out. We set a course for the planet, and we're dealing with the Gorn. Now, the Gorn hegemony, despite initial rocky relations, as seen in the Star Trek episode Arena, they were never truly a threat or a problem to the Federation after the peaceful intentions of the organisation became clear. They were merely content to sit and defend their territory. With great vim and vigour, to be sure, but nevertheless, outside of their borders, they're usually open to negotiations.
Transporter room to bridge. The geological team, supplies, and gear are ready to beam down to Edrin 4.
Very good, Ensign, but before we do that, I can't resist getting a look at the Gorn ships. When they were first encountered by Kirk, all we got was a tiny blurry image from great distance. This is our chance to get up close and see what they really look like. And I've got to say, I quite like the designs. There are startling similarities between Romulan and Federation designs almost. They follow generic starship principle buildings when it comes to forming a warp bubble for faster than light travel, in that they have the two nacelles kept away from the main hull with no structure in between them to interfere with the formation of the warp field. A design principle common throughout Starfleet, and indeed many other ships of this era. Here we see a 4-nacelled variant. Looks like they're pretty tough, to be fair. I don't really want to engage them in a fight, but then the Gorn seldom give us reason to. Though in the 23rd century, relationships between the Federation and the Gorn were tense, I guess. If you want to know more about the Gorn, I've done a video on them which you can see here. Darcy detects a strange energy reading near the orbital space of Edrin 4. We move in to check it out after all. We don't want anything unexpected occurring, especially this close to a fragile joint mining operation such as the one between the Federation and the Gorn. Performing the orbital scan reveals nothing of consequence. Darcy puts it up to a glitch in the sensors, logs it, and, well, I guess we move on. Still, I am suspicious. The readings seem to give off the signature of an impulse drive, but Darcy seems convinced, so we beam down to the surface to join the engineering teams already there.
Ah, there you are. Better late than never, huh? Ensign Skavron, Starfleet Corps of Engineers. Lovely planet we've got here. Charming even, if you're fond of heat and rocks. Still, it's not a complete wash. To say this place is mineral-rich would be an understatement.
Ah, a new member of our crew. What's your background, Skavron?
My first assignment out of the Academy was on Vulcan, working at a geothermal power site in Shikar. Great people, the Vulcans. Good at arguments, though all the logic comes off a little dry for my tastes. This is my first deep space assignment, and I'm damn glad for it. Hope we're going to travel to more than desert worlds, though. I hear Riza's nice this time of year.
Okay, a lot to sift through. First, Skavron is a Tellarite, one of the 4 founding members of the United Federation of Planets. Well, not personally, but his race was. He says his first assignment was on Vulcan at a geothermal power site, which is where the planet sources most of its power. And he mentions about how they're good at arguments. This is because the Tellarites really do enjoy a good debate. They see it as a way of facilitating open communication between all parties. Their entire culture has vast institutes designated for just that. They place a great deal of emphasis on freedom of speech. So if a Tellurite starts arguing with you, it's a compliment. It means he's probably genuinely interested in what you have to say. Or he's just angry you asked him to reach something from a high shelf. Looking around Edron 4, it is a desolate planet, isn't it? Just deserts with a few shrubs, but these rocky formations are interesting. They almost form layers, perfectly climbable, and it seems we've brought Ensign Hunter with us. Of course, he's part of Tarsis' security team, isn't he? It only makes sense that he'd be here too. Scattered about are the beginnings of what's going to be the Federation outpost on this planet. Its job is to catalogue and document the various resources scattered around on this mineral-rich planet. The Gorn here probably have the same idea.
My tricorder's showing some interesting mineral formations beyond this ridge.
This looks like a good place to start our scans.
Nice to see a report was spot on for once. The mineral deposits here are remarkably pure.
We set about aiding the researchers in their cataloguing of the materials.
This carbon deposit is unusually pure. Apparently the Metrons don't prepare half-rate planets.
This planet was prepared by the Metrons. Captain Kirk and a captain of the unidentified Gorn vessel were both brought here by the Metrons to settle a dispute in a manner to which they thought both species would be accustomed. A fight to the death. Fortunately, events did not play out in that fashion, and the two species parted amicably. It seems the planet, though, was left behind with all of its resources and minerals intact. A gold mine for both the Federation and the Gorn, and it only makes sense that the two species would be back here. After all, it technically was joint discovered by them, having both Kirk and the Gorn captain setting foot on the planet at the same time.
Either my tricorder's broken, or the soil here has an amazingly high concentration of sulfur.
Eggy. Yes, my nose told me that long before your tricorder, Ensign.
What the? Mortar fire! We'd better head back to... Whoa! The mortars have closed off the pass! We can't reach the camp! Who would do this?
Look! Over there!
It's the Gorn!
I love it! Look at them! Hey, Gorn buddies! Wait, why are we fighting? Diplomacy first, guys! Diplomacy first. Okay, they're not listening to diplomacy. This is not how I wanted my first mission to turn out. Okay, they're throwing boulders. I forgot they could do that. Scaverin, you okay, buddy? He's fine. Something must be wrong. Usually, relationships between the Gorn and the Federation were relatively peaceful. One of the Gorn ships just exploded. They're blaming us and attacking our forces on the surface and in orbit. Captain McKinnon tried to explain, but they aren't responding to any hails. We're defending ourselves and the Armiger's shields are up, which means we can't beam you back to the ship. I'm afraid you're on your own for now.
Over there! There might be a way out of this infernal canyon further down the valley.
Well, we do only have one way to go, but there are Gorn down this passageway too. I don't really want to fight them if I can avoid it. This seems to potentially be all based on a misunderstanding. If one of the Gorn ships exploded and we're getting the blame for it, we probably shouldn't do anything to aggravate them further. Skirting around them with enough distance, they seem to leave us alone. Oh, and I was being so careful. Well, we'll have to take these Rangers out as well. Oh, incoming rocks. We're able to knock them back with a fully charged blast from the phaser rifle, disrupting their throw attack, which could otherwise be fairly troublesome. Well, moving up into the camp, the Gorn are exactly where we need to be. Negotiation is not an option here.
We need a way out of this canyon, and I'm thinking that big rock up there is it. With a little Federation ingenuity, we can topple this rock with a makeshift bomb. Once it's down, we can walk across it and get back to camp before the Gorn use the Zhang Ha's science team as target practice.
We're a survey team. Where are we going to find bombs, Ensign?
Have you read Captain Kirk's report on this place? We have all the materials we need here to make bombs. They won't be pretty like me, but they'll get results. If you can collect the materials, Ensign Hunter and I will work out where to place the explosives. We're going to need at least 3 bamboo containers, sulfur, potassium nitrate, and coal.
Behind us!
A small party of 3 rangers come out of that shack to see what all the commotion's about. They're probably not too pleased at discovering their friends vaporized, and Scaverin gets hit again by another boulder. Let's hope he doesn't suffer brain damage. We need to gather up some of the same materials Kirk used all that time ago, looking for deposits of sulfur, coal and potassium nitrate, as well as these large bamboo-like structures in order to house the makeshift explosives. I try to avoid as many of the Gorn as I can, trying to run straight through these 2, but they seem to object to me phasering their friends.
Right. Ensign Hunter and I will construct the bombs we need to bring down this rock across the canyon. That's the easy part. It's up to you to keep those angry Gorn off us while we work. Hope you're a good shot. Well, at least the Gorn are punctual. Keep them off us!
Turning around, we see more Gorn Rangers have turned up.
Crush that coal up good, Hunter. Not like that. Finer.
While the 2 engineering ensigns go about building these makeshift bamboo blasters, Hale and Tarsi busy themselves firing at the Gorn. If only there was some way they could listen.
Now mix it with the coal. Carefully. I'd rather not get blown to pieces today, if you don't mind.
Scaverin's a grumpy little guy, isn't he?
We're just about done.
Looking around to make sure the area is secure, they're up above us on the ridge. They've got the height advantage. We need to take them out quickly before they start pummeling us with boulders from above.
Done! Now let's get these bombs in place.
The bombs are primed to blow. We should move to a safe distance.
Fire in the hole!
The detonation has caused the rock to slide down from its precarious precipice and form a bridge which we can scale. Doing so enables us to loop back around to the Federation research camp and rendezvous with our team.
Looks like some Gorn came through here. We better hurry.
The gate has been smashed wide open. Another example of the brutal strength of the Gorn, due to the fact that they grew up on a much higher gravity planet than what us little feeble humans are used to. Now, it looks like they've captured the research team. This isn't the ideal situation. We can't risk them being hit in the crossfire, so we move around to flank them, trying to put the buildings between us and the Gorn to provide some cover. But they spot us! I decide to take the initiative, but it's going to be a tough fight. It seems their commander is called Rawik. He wears a brighter coloured robe than the others, complete with resplendent shoulder guards. Still, with sustained fire, he drops like the rest. I can't say I feel good about this victory. Still, at least the science team is saved.
Thank you. Things were looking pretty grim there for a moment. The Gorn. They kept saying the deaths of their people would be avenged, but we didn't do anything. I haven't fired a phaser since the Academy.
The deaths of their people? Oh no! Well, there's definitely gonna be more avenging going on now. Have I made the situation worse? Well, with Dr. Ward and the science team rescued, We beam up to the ship to see what the situation is in orbit. Well, it looks like the Gorn have temporarily retreated, but the Zhang-Ha is in very bad shape. McKinnon is hailing us now.
Good to hear from you. Thank you for saving my people.
No thanks needed, Captain. What's your status?
We're making repairs, but it'll be some time before our engines are back online.
We set a course to help our fellow Federation vessel to see if we can assist in the repairs before the Gorn turn up again. The Zhang-Ha is a tiny Daedalus-class vessel, already an outdated starship, not really that well equipped to deal with the Gorn aggressors. It's a miracle it's not been blown to pieces.
We're picking up Gorn warp signatures on our long-range sensors here. They're coming back!
The research vessel is in no shape to put up any sort of resistance. We need to intercept them before they can reach our crippled Federation ally. The Drake cruiser is a lot tougher than the Klingon Raptors we fought earlier, being a much more current vessel. It can put up a nasty fight, but overall it's still no match for the far more powerful Pioneer-class USS Armiger. Phew, thankfully it has the sense to warp away before it gets destroyed. Let's continue with repairing the Daedalus-class Zhang-Ha.
Thanks for covering us. The Gorn would have made short work of my ship otherwise. I owe you one.
How are the repairs coming?
Slow but steady. Our warp drive is still disabled, but we're making progress.
We have some spare supplies we can beam over to assist you.
Thanks. I hate to ask, but something's bothering me. We picked up strange energy readings before the attack. It could be nothing.
Strange energy readings, you say? Well, McKinnon sends over the data.
Sending it now. I'd start with the debris of the Gorn ship that was destroyed. There might be a clue there.
Then that's exactly what we'll do. Stay safe, Captain. This must be the wreckage of that Gorn ship we were told spontaneously detonated.
Captain, the crew of the Zhang-Ha were onto something. I ran a deep scan analysis of the Gorn debris, and the results are damn peculiar. Gorn ships aren't as tough as a Tellarite design, but our scaly friends know a thing or two about hull plating. Whoever fired this shot knew exactly where to hit them.
Is it enough to identify the culprit?
Not with the data we have now, but the science team just found another strange energy reading nearby.
We set a course for this strange anomaly on the other side of the debris field. The wreckage spans for quite a way. It must have been some blast. We can see the central hulk of that four-nacelled Gorn cruiser in the middle. Traces of power still flickering within, but there are no survivors. Whatever happened, it's imperative we clear the Federation's name. We didn't fire that shot, and the Daedalus class certainly doesn't have the firepower to overwhelm the Gorn. Maybe the anomaly will provide some answers.
Picking up debris from the Gorn ship, and some trace elements of weapons-grade plasma. Sir, I know who did this. It's the Romulans.
Are you sure?
I'll shave my eyebrows if I'm wrong. It's the Romulans, I'm sure of it. There's more bad news. The Gorn are coming back, weapons hot. Orders?
Red alert. Tactical, target their subsystems to disable them. We don't want to destroy them over a misunderstanding. Not now, we are so close to providing proof.
It's the same ship as before. Doesn't look like they're back at full strength though.
He's right, they entered the fray with only 78% hull integrity. It looks like they warped out just long enough to restore their shields and weapon systems. This time they have some more tricks up their sleeves, including the ability to launch a cluster of nacelle-seeking mines that seem to track the vessel and then detonate upon impact. They're not too bad, we can weather the hit mostly. Eventually our wild firing targets something critical and the ship shuts down. Maybe now we can talk.
We thought we could share this space equally, Federation. Your unprovoked act of aggression against our research vessel tells me otherwise.
Captain, we have data that proves the Romulans attacked your ships.
I see no Romulans, only Federation ships. Do you think me a fool, Captain?
I'm sending you the data that exonerates us.
Most convenient, Captain. But I am unconvinced. Produce these Romulans that you claim destroyed our ship, or prepare to pay for your crimes.
Scavrin tries to get our attention, so we mute the channel.
Captain, I've got an idea. If we can generate a charged particle burst, we might overload their cloak.
I heard cloaking. Where are they?
You're quite the clever one, Captain. Too clever, I'm afraid. No one can know of our actions here today. Your death, I'll regret.
Oh frack, we're right on top of them. Move the ship. 2 Romulan Ken cruisers. Those are the ships that are based off of the Klingon D7. The Romulans obtained the schematics for these in a trade, giving the Klingons cloaking devices, and they in turn got these mighty warships. But the odds aren't stacked against us for long. The Gorn join in, taking out one of the cruisers with expediency. A photon through the hole in the shields directly to the bridge takes out the second cruiser, and now there's only one remaining warbird to deal with. It's 2 versus 1, and now the Gorn is turning those pesky mines against our common adversary.
Well fought, Federation. The hegemony will remember the Romulan treachery today, and your assistance in exposing it. I propose we continue our joint surveys of Edrin 4 under a mutual non-aggression pact.
We can say that works for me, Captain, or choose the more optimistic. Perhaps one day we will explore together.
So there was another player on the field. Nice work out there, Captain. We'll be heading for the closest starbase soon, but we'll be back to finish our work here, along with the Gorn, I'll wager. I think the Romulans will take a pass, though.
And with good reason. The history between the Romulans and the Gorn has always been as tumultuous as, well, the Romulans and practically every other species in the Alpha and Beta quadrants. They're not exactly good at making friends. But the situation was eventually resolved peacefully. We warp out of the system.
Good to hear from you. I've read Captain McKinnon's report. Sounds like things got a little rough on Edrin 4. Still, the diplomatic corps thinks your actions will make a difference in future talks with the Gorn. Well done.
We can only hope so, and with that, the mission is completed and we receive our rewards. We obtain Scavrin as a bridge officer, a fully additioned member of the crew, as well as some phaser rifles, a personal shield and some armour, all for personnel use. This will help us when we have any more away missions groundside, providing protection and higher firepower for several individuals of the team, or however you choose to disperse it among your officers. And before we end the mission, I make Tarsi change into the correct uniform. After all, she's the head of security, so I assign her a Red Division outfit. After all, she did claim to be one of us red shirts earlier. And this episode draws to a close. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you for the next video, as this is a continuing series as I work my way through the 23rd century missions of Star Trek Online, beginning with the Agents of Yesterday's story arc. So until next time, I've been Rick, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.